Opening scene prologue. The legend begins, approximate 300 words. The film opens with a sweeping aerial shot over a dense jungle canopy, the camera slowly descending to reveal ancient ruins hidden beneath centuries of overgrowth. A voiceover begins, narrated by an elderly man named Dr. Elias Mercer, a once-renowned archaeologist now living in self-imposed exile. His voice is filled with regret and longing. They called it myth, a fairy tale told to kings and conquerors. But I saw the maps. I read the texts. I stood at the edge of eternity and stared into its waters. And I drank. The screen cuts to black, then flashes back hundreds of years to a Spanish conquistador, Captain Rodrigo de Alvarado, leading an expedition through the jungles of the Caribbean in 1513. He is obsessed with finding a mythical spring said to restore youth and vitality. Through treacherous terrain and hostile encounters with indigenous tribes, Rodrigo pushes his men forward, driven by a desire not just for glory, but for personal redemption after losing his wife to plague. The scene ends with Rodrigo discovering a shimmering pool surrounded by towering stone statues, the Fountain of Youth. He drinks from it, and his wounds heal, his hair darkens, and his eyes regain their youthful sparkle. But something goes wrong. His men begin to scream as they too drink, only to twist and decay before vanishing into mist. Rodrigo alone survives, cursed to live forever, trapped in a cycle of youth and madness. Act 1, the present day. A scientist's obsession, approximate 900 words. Cut to modern-day Miami. Dr. Lena Mercer, a brilliant but disillusioned biomedical researcher in her early 30s, walks through a sterile lab filled with test tubes, microscopes, and holographic projections of DNA sequences. She is working on a longevity project funded by a powerful pharmaceutical company, Vitalis Corp., whose CEO, Victor Hale, is pushing for results. Lena is haunted by the disappearance of her father, Dr. Elias Mercer, who vanished during a research expedition 5 years earlier. She has been combing through his notes, journals, and old recordings, trying to piece together what happened to him. Her obsession grows when she finds a cryptic journal entry. It exists. Not metaphor, not molecule, a place. Water. Power. Curse. She discovers coordinates embedded in one of his sketches, locations across Central America. With funding dwindling and pressure mounting from Vitalis, Lena decides to take a sabbatical and investigate the mystery herself. She enlists the help of Mateo Cruz, a local historian and guide from Costa Rica, who knows the region well. Mateo is skeptical of legends but agrees to accompany her out of respect for her father, whom he once met during an archaeological dig. Their journey begins in the coastal town of Puerto Jimenez, where they gather supplies and hear rumors of strange disappearances near the rainforest. They meet Isabel, a young indigenous woman who claims her ancestors have guarded the secret of the fountain for generations. She warns them of the dangers and offers to lead them partway, though she refuses to go all the way. As the trio ventures deeper into the jungle, the atmosphere becomes more surreal. The air feels heavier, time seems distorted, and they begin experiencing vivid dreams and hallucinations. Especially Lena, who sees visions of a man with piercing blue eyes calling her name. Act 2, Into the Unknown. The journey intensifies, approximate 1,600 words. As they trek further into the jungle, the group faces numerous challenges. Torrential rains, venomous snakes, and disorienting fog that plays tricks on their senses. Tensions rise between Lena and Mateo, who argues that they are chasing myths instead of science. Isabel remains silent, often watching Lena with a knowing look. One night, while camped beside a river, Lena discovers a cave marked with ancient carvings, similar to those described in her father's notes. Inside, she finds murals depicting the Fountain of Youth and a warning about a cycle of renewal, a process that grants youth but demands a price. They continue onward, following clues left behind by previous explorers, including Lena's father. In a hidden chamber carved into a cliffside, they find Elias's belongings, his journal, camera, and a chilling final video message recorded on a cracked phone. In the video, Elias appears gaunt and desperate. He admits he found the fountain, drank from it, and was rejuvenated, but realize too late that the water doesn't grant immortality. Instead, it resets your body every few decades, erasing memories and identity unless you drink again. It's a vicious loop, a fountain of youth that traps you in endless rebirth. I remember my daughter, but I don't know how many times I've remembered her. I fear the next reset will be the end of me. If you're seeing this, Lena, run. The message ends abruptly, leaving Lena emotionally shattered. Mateo tries to convince her to turn back, but she refuses. She believes she can control the fountain, study it, even reverse engineer its effects without becoming a victim. They finally reach the site, a hidden valley shrouded in mist, where the fountain lies within a crumbling temple. The structure is alive with bioluminescent plants and pulsating energy. As they approach, the ground trembles, and a series of ancient mechanisms activate, revealing a stairway descending into the earth. Inside, they find a vast underground chamber with the fountain at its center. The water glows faintly, reflecting scenes from each person's past. Isabel warns them not to touch it. She believes it is tied to the spirits of her ancestors and should never be disturbed. But Lena steps forward, drawn by the promise of scientific breakthrough. She dips her hand into the water. Instantly, her skin heals from minor scars, her posture straightens, and she feels a surge of vitality. Suddenly, the chamber collapses. Mateo pulls her back as debris falls, sealing off the entrance. They are trapped. Over the next few days, strange things happen. Time inside the chamber seems to pass differently. Mateo notices his beard growing faster than usual. Isabel begins aging rapidly, her hands wrinkling, her hair turning white. Lena realizes the fountain affects people differently based on their emotional state and physical condition. Isabel, understanding the danger, sacrifices herself to trigger an ancient mechanism that opens a hidden escape route. She urges Lena to leave before the fountain consumes her. With heavy hearts, Lena and Mateo flee the collapsing temple, emerging into daylight just as the entire structure implodes behind them. Act 3, The Price of Immortality. Aftermath and Consequences. Approximate 1,800 words. Back in Miami, Lena struggles to process everything. She writes a report claiming the fountain was a hoax, covering up its true nature. But deep down, she knows the truth, and she can feel subtle changes in her body. Her reflection seems younger. Her energy levels are higher. She hasn't slept in days, yet she isn't tired. She starts researching ways to control the fountain's effects. She isolates compounds from the water she secretly brought back and injects them into lab animals. The results are astonishing. Cellular regeneration, reversal of aging markers, enhanced cognitive function. Vitali's corp becomes interested in her findings, offering unlimited funding. But Lena hides the true source of the samples. She begins testing on herself, documenting the effects meticulously. First, it works. She regains her youthful appearance, feels invincible. But soon, she experiences memory lapses. She forgets important moments from her childhood, then friends, then her own name. She records video logs to anchor herself, repeating key facts. My name is Dr. Lena Mercer. I am 32 years old. My father disappeared looking for the fountain of youth. But even these fail. Each time she renews, she loses more of herself. Meanwhile, Mateo returns to Costa Rica, deeply affected by what they experienced. He begins working with indigenous elders to protect sacred sites from exploitation. He receives a letter from Lena, postmarked months later, asking him to meet her somewhere new. When he arrives, he finds a different woman entirely, younger, unfamiliar, yet somehow familiar. Lena doesn't remember him. She shows him a lab filled with vials of synthesized fountain water. She calls it Project Rebirth. She plans to commercialize it, revolutionizing medicine and human life expectancy. Mateo tries to stop her, warning her of the cost. But she dismisses him, believing she has mastered the process. Later, we see Lena presenting at a global medical conference. She announces the discovery of a revolutionary compound that halts aging. The world erupts in awe and controversy. But in private, she watches videos of herself, dozens of them, trying to hold on to her identity. She ages slightly, then takes another dose. Her eyes flicker with confusion. She looks at her face in the mirror, unsure who she is. A subplot unfolds involving a young journalist, Daniel Reyes, who begins investigating Lena and her ties to Vitaly's corporation. He uncovers classified documents linking the fountain to multiple missing persons cases, including Lena's father. Daniel tracks down Mateo, who helps him understand the legend and its dangers. Together, they confront Lena, showing her footage of the temple collapse and Isabel's death. For a moment, something stirs in Lena, a flicker of recognition. But it's too late. In a climactic scene, Lena prepares to take another dose. She hesitates. Flashbacks flood her mind. Her father teaching her to read maps, Isabel's sacrifice, Mateo holding her hand as they fled the temple. She drops the syringe. It shatters. Instead, she activates a failsafe, a digital vault containing all her research, encrypted and set to release publicly upon her disappearance. She sends Daniel and Mateo away. Then, she vanishes. Epilogue, The Eternal Cycle, approximate 955 words. Months later, Daniel publishes an exposé revealing Project Rebirth and the existence of the fountain. The world is divided. Some call it salvation, others a curse. Vitaly's corp collapses under public scrutiny. Mateo returns to the jungle, guided by a new clue, a message left by Lena in one of her final videos. He finds the fountain once again, dormant, hidden beneath layers of rock. At its edge, he sees a figure, a woman young and radiant, staring into the water. She turns. It's Lena, but her eyes are blank. She doesn't recognize him. She whispers, "Who am I?" Mateo kneels beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You're someone who chose to remember." Fade to black. On-screen text appears. Some doors, once opened, cannot be closed. Some truths, once seen, cannot be forgotten.